Hi there, I'm Janine. Welcome to my channel and thank you so much for watching. In this video, I'm going to tell you about 4 things that I made for our recent New Year's Eve holiday. Plus, for the first time ever, I took just a carry-on for our 8-night holiday. And most of the things that I took were me-mades. So I'm going to tell you all about what I packed and how it worked to travel with just a carry-on for 8 nights. In my Christmas Eve video, I showed you a sneak peek of the dress that I made for New Year's Eve, but I made a few other things too that I'm going to share with you first, and then we're going to talk about this dress. When we lived in Pennsylvania, we were able to drive to Fabric Mart. We were just in Pennsylvania for a short period of time, but I made at least a couple of trips to Fabric Mart. And if you've shopped Fabric Mart online, you know that the prices are amazing. But if you actually go to the retail store, the prices are even more amazing. There are huge discounts if you shop in the store. So I picked up a lot of stuff when I was there, thinking that one day I might need or want that fabric. One of the pieces of fabric that I bought was a piece of bathing suit fabric, because when we were there one time, they had a bunch of bathing suit fabric. And I saw a fabric that I just loved. The colors were so pretty. It looked like something I would wear. So I took it up to the counter, and Julie, of Julie's Picks from Fabric Mart, rolled it out. She asked me how much I wanted. I think I said like 1.5 yards. And she started to roll it out, and there was staining. There was dye all over one edge. So it being the retail store and Julie being one of the owners, she said, I'm going to give it to you. I can't remember what it was. I'm thinking it was like $3 or $4 a yard. And I said, well, at that price, give me 3.5 yards. And I actually wound up with 4 yards of the fabric. And this is what I have left. And I thought this would be such a pretty bathing suit. And you can see this is the stain. It was just the one edge, maybe 6-8 inches in, that had the stain. So I always thought this would be such a pretty bathing suit. So I just hung on to it. I have had some experience sewing bathing suits because I made one the year that I started sewing again. So in 2015, I think, I made a bathing suit, and I'm going to pop up a picture of it. I actually allowed someone to take a picture of me in a bathing suit. I used the Closet Core bombshell bathing suit pattern, and the bathing suit turned out quite well, but I didn't sew it very well, so it didn't really last through many washes. When I was about 12, I self-drafted a bathing suit, and it didn't last through many washes. So that seems to be a trend. So we're hoping that this bathing suit turns out better. The pattern that I wound up using for the bathing suit is McCall's 4848. I don't know if this is still in print. I bought this on eBay. And this is a tankini or a swim dress pattern. So it comes with a regular tankini top, regular bottoms, or shorts, or swim skirt, or a swim dress. I just used the regular bottoms and the tankini top. I bought swimsuit lining at Fabricland here in Calgary, and I only had a choice of one swimsuit lining, and I think it's a little bit lighter than I would have chosen had I had another choice. I made one adjustment to the pattern, and that was to raise the rise of the bathing suit bottoms by 2 inches, because I didn't want them to cut somewhere that would have caused more lumps than I already have. This particular pattern has cup sizes, so I used the larger cup size. And it sews up so quickly. You make the little half bra, you stitch it in, you add the elastic, you add the straps, that's about it. The back actually is 2 pieces, so if you want to add a little bit of shaping, you can. But it's a super simple swimsuit pattern. And I think anybody could make this. I used my serger for the seams, but if you have a sewing machine that has a good stretch stitch, you could absolutely make this bathing suit. Goes together very quickly. Now, I would make it again, but there are two things that I would do differently. The first would be using a much heavier weight swimsuit lining, because I got the only one that was available at Fabricland. I didn't have time to order anything in. And it's fine, but there are going to be no Baywatch jogs down the beach in this bathing suit. Trust me. So it's fine. It doesn't move. It's got elastic underneath the bra. And the other thing that I would do is I would make the straps just a little bit wider, because I think it just gives a little bit more stability if you are concerned about something slipping off. But the bathing suit took, I don't know, 3 or 4 hours total to sew. So this again is McCall's 4848. I told you I had about 3.5 yards of this fabric, and I only got that much because I thought it was cute, and sometimes I just buy things because you have to buy them because they are there. So I've kind of been wondering what I would do if I would make bathing suits for the whole family, including the cats, or what I would do with this. And when we were away last fall, we went to California and I was at an outlet mall and there was a swimsuit store. So I went in there and they had swimsuit cover-ups, like dresses, made from swimsuit fabric. So why wouldn't I make a swimsuit cover-up out of this fabric, since I had so much of it? So that's exactly what I did. I used my tried and true favorite t-shirt pattern, and that is Simplicity 8595. I've made this 3 or 4 times now, and this pattern goes together so quickly. And what I love about it is that it's shaped in such a way that it drapes down from the bust. So it's not like some t-shirt patterns that really come in and maybe you need to add a little bit extra for your hips or for your stomach or for your butt. This just hangs from the bust. So it's a wonderful shape. And I always feel very confident using this pattern because I know that it's going to be something that goes together so quickly because you just basically sew it on the serger. But it's also a nice shape. So that's what I did. I made a bathing suit cover-up dress out of this. Now this can be worn, I've got a couple of pictures here, they're not particularly good pictures. So this could be worn just as a dress, or it could be worn to swim, or it could be worn as a bathing suit cover-up. So here is the whole set. Here's the dress. It gets a little creasy, but here's the dress. Super simple. Goes together so fast. And the bathing suit bottoms right here. And as I mentioned, I increased the rise by 2 inches, so they fit me nicely. I did use my cover stitch and I struggled with it, so I am going to have to do some work. So I had used the cover stitch on the top, and then when I had trouble with it, I just went to the stretch elastic stitch on my sewing machine for the legs, and I think that worked better. And here's the top. I wore this to swim about 3 times, and I felt really confident and comfortable in it. I was quite pleased with it. So those were 3 pieces that I made for our holiday. Let's talk about this dress now. This is my New Year's Eve dress. And I gave you a sneak peek of this in my Christmas Eve Vlogmas video. But here it is, it's all done. It's been worn, it's been washed, everything. I bought this fabric at Fabricland again, and it's 100% unknown textile. We have no idea what this is, but it stretches and it's comfortable and it doesn't crease. So when I found this fabric, I had in my mind that I wanted to have a dress with either a twist at the front or a pleat, because then it hides all kinds of sins. And with it being the holidays, that was especially relevant. A number of people sent me suggestions for dresses, but unfortunately they all needed more fabric than I had, because I bought the last of the bolt at Fabricland, so I had, I think, 2.3 meters of fabric. And a lot of the dresses that I liked needed 3 meters, so that wasn't gonna work. So I dug around and I wound up looking at Ellie and Matt patterns. I've never looked at their patterns before. I'd heard of them, but I'd never looked at them. And they had a new pattern for the Heart and Soul twist dress. Here it is. And this dress needed, I think it was 2.4 meters with a directional fabric. And this is non-directional, so I knew I was in great shape. So I bought the pattern, downloaded it, printed it out. When I was looking at what size to wear or to choose, I was kind of in between the large and the extra large, and I couldn't find any finished garment measurements. So I went with I printed out both the large and the extra large. And when I cut it, I decided to cut the extra large, and I am really glad that I did. Something else, I couldn't find a cutting layout, and I don't know, maybe that was a mistake when I printed it. Anyways, so I cut this out using an extra large, which seemed to me like it was going to be body skimming. The first thing that you do is you sew together the sleeves, then you sew the waist seam in the back, and then you do this twist here at the front. Fortunately, Ellie and Mac has put together a YouTube video that demonstrates how to do the twist, and that was so helpful, because even though the printed instructions are very good, this is still completely a mind bender. So I don't think I would have easily been able to figure it out on my own, so having the YouTube video was just great. It saved a lot of frustration. So I did the twist, and I had it sewed together at the shoulders, and then the back was together. And as I always do when I cut things, I make the seam allowances kind of generous, because, you know, you can always take some off, but you can't add any on. So I basted it up using about maybe a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and this pattern calls for 1/4 inch seam allowances. So I basted it up and I put it on, and the dress was so tight that I could barely get it on. And at that point, I wasn't quite sure what I was gonna do, because not only was it tight, but these pleats here on the front were all pulling terribly at the side. So I unpicked it, slept on it, and then the next day I basted it again with 1/4 inch seam allowances, thinking, well, I'm adding, what, 1/2 inch, maybe that'll make a difference. And that did help. It was not 100%, so I considered adding some panels at the side, but I just didn't think that was gonna work. And honestly, I just thought it wouldn't look very good. So I decided to sew it up on the serger right at the edge of the seams. So I maybe had 1/8 of an inch seam allowances. And I just said, that's the way it's gonna be. So that's what I stitched up. And the dress certainly fit a lot better then. Depending on the foundation garments worn under it, there can be some bulges in the back, because it really fits in the back. But it was not bad enough that I didn't consider leaving it at home when we went away. So I wore this on New Year's Eve, and I felt super comfortable in it, because this is really stretchy. And it was shiny, but not so shiny. You can see it really kind of shimmers. It was shiny, but not so shiny that it felt, you know, like I was trying to be a Vegas showgirl or something. We were on a cruise ship. Most people were dressed up a little bit. There were a handful of people in full-on gowns, but I just thought, you know, this is nice. It's dressy enough for an evening out. Unfortunately, it was a really cold night, so we weren't able to go outside. This would have just been too cold to wear outside. But I wore it and I liked it. So let's talk a little bit about what I like and what I don't like. I love the twist feature, the idea of the twist, because yeah, it just drew the attention away from my belly and kind of cinched me in, so it seemed to give me a little bit of an hourglass shape, which I really liked. What I don't necessarily love, this is the back seam, and it doesn't seem to align with anything. It kind of aligns with the middle of the band that creates the twist. And I think it should align with the top or the bottom, but maybe I'm wrong there. Also, the skirt, the drapes kind of pull out to the side when you wear it. It's not terrible, but when I use this pattern again, and I will use this pattern again, I think what I'll do is I'm going to cut from here down much bigger, and then I'm going to stitch it to here, and then I'm going to drape it and see how much extra fabric I need, because I think there's more fabric needed in the front. Like here, the seam curves around and it comes back. So I think that something needs to be done. Maybe I need more fabric in the back, but something needs to be done to make that drape better. Also, I would absolutely cut a larger size. This is very fitted, and it didn't necessarily look that way in the pictures. Now, it wouldn't stop me from wearing this again. And this fabric is so great for travel, because this is the stuff that you can just scrunch up into a ball and throw in a suitcase. So I thought it was a really fun, appropriate dress for New Year's Eve, and it will be for other special events. And it isn't something that's going to take up a lot of space in my closet, and it will fit better whenever I lose those 15 pounds. But for now, I thought this was a fun New Year's Eve dress. So those are the 4 things that I made for the holidays. As I mentioned at the top of the video, we went on an 8-day vacation. We left on Christmas Day and we got on a ship on Boxing Day and we sailed to the Mexican Riviera. So that was our little holiday present to each other. With everything that's been going on with travel the past several months, we decided not to check bags. When I travel, I normally take a lot of stuff. I'm one of those people who wants to have something different to wear every night, and an outfit for the day, and an outfit in case I don't like what I had, and 6 different pairs of shoes. We just weren't going to risk it because I didn't want to get on board a ship with no clothes. So decided to take a carry-on, and when I was contemplating not taking a lot of stuff, I kept on thinking about some videos that we talked about briefly last year, and that's 1 year, 1 dress, and then there's a blog post, several blog posts, 1 dress 100 days, and people who wear the same thing all the time. And the one thing that I took away from those was that people don't notice what you wear. I don't notice what the people I work with wear. Maybe I'll remember, oh yeah, I think that she had a pretty color on yesterday. But nobody notices what you wear and nobody cares. So why am I worrying so much about what I take on these trips? Now, I want to wear things that I have, things that I love. It's a great opportunity to wear, especially here where it's cold. It's fun to wear your summer clothes in the middle of the winter. But it wasn't worth it given all the flights that were being canceled and luggage that was being lost around the world in December. So I sat down with my small rollerboard, which is a non-expanding rollerboard. And the first thing I decided is I was going to wear the same thing going down and coming home. And I would leave my winter coat and boots and all of that stuff in the car at the airport and just freeze walking to the terminal, but that was fine. But then I thought I'm going to try and wear things many times, and I want to wear things that pack things that go with multiple different outfits. You know how all of this works. Versatility. So what I wound up wearing was the Maven Somerset top. This is also a Maven Somerset, and this is the great t-shirt with the bishop sleeves. But I wore the one that is the UK fun print with the dogs and everything. It's a nice cozy top. And then I wore the navy cords that I made in the fall, which is Vogue 9181, and the Style Art Shacket, because I love that Shacket. And it's just cozy enough, and it's also kind of cool enough, you know. It's at least stylish. So wore those with my leather walking shoes. Then what I packed was mostly me-mades. I'm going to pop up a picture here of my closet on the ship with all of my clothes. So I packed 4 dresses, 5 bottoms, 6 tops, 2 pairs of shoes, and a bathing suit. The bathing suit. So for the dresses, I took the pink floral pretty dress that I made last summer, and that's Butterick 6873. I took Cashmerette Windsor, which I made in 2020, and that's in that crazy would never, I don't know what kind of fabric that is, but it does not crease at all. I took this dress, of course, for New Year's Eve, and then I took the turquoise bathing suit dress. For bottoms, I took 3 ready-to-wear items. Navy capris, white capris, black shorts. Then my linen pants that I made last summer, Simplicity 8744, and the navy Ponte skirt that I made as part of the wardrobe basics, which is the Love Notions Sybil. Tops, 6 tops, a polka dot sleeveless top that I made in 2017 or 2018, that's Simplicity 8337. The fruit tank, the Kersoe top that I made last summer. Pamela's Patterns Versatile twin set in orange that I made in 2021. And a black ready-to-wear t-shirt, a coral ready-to-wear top, and a navy sleeveless ready-to-wear top that also has the twist. I didn't wear that top. Then the shoes I wore, plus navy flat sandals and silver dressy sandals. As I said, I didn't wear the navy ready-to-wear top. What would I do differently? Well, next time I would add in a sweater or a jacket because you're always going to be cold. And I would take a different top because, well, I never wore that one top and I didn't like that coral one. But generally, everything went together. I liked everything that I wore. And I think that's a big thing. You have to wear things where you feel confident and happy in them. And if you've had them for 10 years or if they're ready to wear, if you're going to be wearing it multiple times, then you should love what you're going to wear. I did send out cleaning, so I got the capris and a few other things that weren't going to shrink cleaned on the ship, and that helped as well. But there was nothing that I took that required pressing, and I think that's a really big thing. So all of this stuff, like this, can just be balled up and thrown in the bottom of your suitcase and it will be just fine. I think I probably had as much extra stuff, like non-clothes stuff, as I did clothes because, you know, toiletries, makeup, brushes, curling irons, cables, cameras, laptops, all of that stuff just takes a ton of space. I didn't feel hard done by for 1 minute. I didn't want to buy anything. There was nothing where I said, oh, I wish I hadn't brought this, or I wish I'd brought something else. Now, I wouldn't take all of these things again. For example, that Cashmerette Webster dress, the green one, I don't like the way it fits. I've always disliked the way it fits, so that's not going with me again. And the crinkle dress is nice, but I don't know. I might not take that again. But I would probably throw all of these things in the case again the next time. So for myself and for anybody else who's thinking, gosh, I don't know if I can do this, I would say just do it. It's not going to ruin your vacation if you don't have 3 changes of clothes a day. And it really was very freeing to just get off the plane and walk off with your stuff. And when we got off the ship, we just rolled off with our stuff. Now, the downside was that I could not do any shopping. There was no space for anything new. And when we were in Mexico, I wanted to buy some vanilla. Well, I couldn't buy a bottle of vanilla because I couldn't take more than 3 ounces of liquid onto the plane. So that was definitely detrimental. But I would say, if you decide you want to shop, if I decide I want to shop, next time we go on a trip and I take a carry-on, I'm just going to ship it home. There's always a way. If you are a good packer, someone who always carries one small case, I would love to hear some of your thoughts when you're packing things. Do you just pack one color? Are there colors you love? Do you have things that you always take on holidays and then you don't wear them when you're home because you're sick of them? What about shoes? I absolutely need running shoes, and next time I will take running shoes because my legs were screaming after wearing either flat sandals or the same shoes every day. But how do you do it? And one thing I really wonder about is, how do you manage purses? Because I don't like to look like a tourist. So if we're going to Europe, I want to have a nice purse. I don't want to have like a backpack. How do you handle things like that? So that's what's been going on the last couple of weeks. I went through my fabric last night and let's see here. I've got a lot of stuff that's teal. I've got 3 different top fabrics that are teal and a piece of teal linen. So I might be sewing something teal soon. But I think we're going to paint my sewing room this weekend. So that might be the next real project. I hope you're having a great January 2023, and I am really enjoying reading all of your goals. And again, we're going to look at those in June and see how we are all doing. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you soon.